Sprinkle some pixel dust. We're going in. Hello, people. I'm your host, Austin, and this is my counterpart, Jaymes of Z.
What's going on,
Jaymes,
guys?
what are we going to be talking about today?
Diddy Kong Racing versus Mario Kart 64.
Oh, this is going to be a fun one. I already got the title. I already got this out, so you know the stretch. We're going to be discussing many things. We're going to be talking about the music, the tracks, the graphics, the multiplayer, the single-player potential, the speedrunning potential, replayability, and how's it hold up today? We're going to be talking about all those subjects. Whoever has the most wins, well, is the winner, I guess. All right, James, you want to talk about the music?
Start it off.
All right, before we go into the music, your thoughts. Which one has the better soundtrack?
Before we even really break into it, I think that there's more to Diddy Kong Racing soundtrack. So I feel like they could have 3 different winter themes. Where Mario kind of was limited, where they could only have maybe one or two, just because the nature of how many tracks that they had in Mario Kart. So now we're getting a track amount, but I think that we're going to have more songs in Diddy Kong Racing, and I do remember some very good, memorable ones as well. And to me, the mark of a good soundtrack is a memorable soundtrack.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. That's why Ocarina of Time's power is so strong to this very day.
Absolutely. Versus any other Zelda series, maybe past Majora's Mask.
All right, without further ado, let's compare.
Soundtrack-wise.
Let's compare some soundtracks. Let's talk about the opening themes. I feel like the opening themes are very important too.
Playful. That's what I remembered. I'm ready to play, and it also has Diddy Kong. It has Donkey Kong rhythms to it, with those drums and stuff.
It's rare. It's Grant Kirk. Is it Grant Kirk?
Try it out.
Did Grant Kirk make this soundtrack? It's David Wise did this one. It's the other rare employee.
It's worthy of the name Kong having in it, because this reminds me of Donkey Kong.
And it goes into the characters' soundtracks, like each little musical instrument that they play.
Correct.
I love it.
Each character has probably their own instrument.
Yeah,
Tipped up.
represent who they are. Conquer.
They all got their own.
Mm-hmm. Tip top. The drumstick. Pipsy. I don't know why steel drums though, but whatever. Banjo.
That's awesome. That's the best.
Crunch.
Secret characters.
The Whiz Pig.
Secret characters.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. There's one of them. Then Diddy Kong. Bam!
And you feel like you blast through a wall right there at the end.
Definitely. Now compare that to Mario Kart. Mario Kart's main theme is so different, and I actually like this one a little bit more, but that's only for a personal reason.
Mm-hmm. It feels grand. I feels like this is Gran Turismo of.
It feels like I'm at night. I'm seeing characters drifting across the tracks.
Feels Italian. Feels like Formula F1 racing.
And then?
I feel like I'm going this feels like a racing game versus the last game, which felt like a Donkey Kong game.
It sounds like racing tracks.
Yeah, this sounds like racing. It reminds me of like being at a racetrack type of game at that point, like an F1 Formula 1 race type. Definitely. I don't know, for some reason you get that just going around the track feeling. Because the song it remains. It's just like, just like you're going around.
The freaking bass.
Not really memorable, except for the first part. The first part's the most memorable part.
It's because it's the opening, the screen. Welcome to Mario Kart.
But so overall, that song is totally not really that memorable.
It's not memorable.
Past that
I
point.
love it, but I think Diddy Kong wins on this one.
Well, it tells more tale.
Yeah, Diddy Kong tells more tale. It has a lot to do. I feel like an opening can show a lot through its song, and that's pretty impressive. So yeah,
and they both have very different feels.
They all have different feels. That's what I like about these song contrasts. Like, which one are they going for? Diddy Kong is like Diddy Kong's opening is showing their characters.
Playful.
It's playful characters. Like, hey, look at all these funny little characters. But Mario's more like
racing.
This is it. This is what you're looking for. You want to race. You want to race. Now let's do the. We all remember Mario 64's Raceways. Yeah, we're cooking with gas. This makes me feel like I'm racing.
This is a racing theme. What is this? What is this one?
All the raceways, like Luigi's Raceway, Mario Raceway, Wario State Raceway.
Okay, so when you're going through the menu, this is the menu.
Not the menu theme. This is when you're normal tracks.
Well, that's the thing. Think about that. In Mario's, there's just so many of the songs repeat.
It is definitely a big drawback on their soundtrack. They're good. Here's the thing. I think Mario Kart 64 has great soundtrack. I think like the power of them is really good. And we look at Diddy Kong Racing. The soundtracks are really just as good, but there's more variety to them.
Well, here's the other thing about this song in particular. There's really no melody for me to latch onto.
Except the beginning.
No melodic story for me to be like, yeah, this reminds me of racing on Mario Kart. Out of context, this song just makes me think, racing, but doesn't really make me feel Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Versus where I was feeling Diddy Kong Racing from their very first song. Let's see how Diddy Kong matches up here.
The first track, Ancient Lake.
Fun. Oh my god.
God, I love this song.
Memorable. It travels. You're not in the same place.
We're at the ancient lake.
Moving. We're having fun. This is like so much fun.
It is. That's the thing about Diddy Kong Racing. I think the soundtracks all compel this feeling of fun.
Yes.
It's fun, but Mario Kart 64, I definitely feel like it has some fun too. But I think like, what's his name? Grant Wise? No, that's Grant Kirby. David Wise. I think he did a better job in this one compared. Let's see, who did this? The composer was Kenta Nagata, so it wasn't Aonuma. Interesting.
Yeah, Wise is definitely doing better with this stuff than what we're hearing on Mario Kart.
Now, okay.
At least compared to this far.
Now, compare this to the menu theme. Okay, let me show you this is when I think the menu theme is just straight up better. Diddy Kong Racing. Oh, let me get the... Let's see. This
is Mario Kart.
This is Mario Kart Race. So it's so basic.
This is the most memorable thing of the three things you've played for me. This is the most memorable thing I remember of Mario Kart. And despite the fact that Mario Kart, I've played way more hours on Mario Kart than I've played on Diddy Kong. The songs are just straight up not really that memorable. Not good. Not enjoyable. Not compelling.
They're good. They get the job done. But then you get to...
They don't compel you to have fun, though.
Then you do Diddy Kong Racing's menu theme. And I think this is just so freaking much better.
I feel like Sonic the Hedgehog right now, but...
It definitely has that Sonic Advance vibe to it. Wait, best part. I love that part.
This is like a sedentary feeling. Like, you could pause, take a breath.
Yeah, like look around, like look, what are you looking...
And you could just like, you're not racing right now, but just take a moment.
Take a moment, have
and just
some fun.
Feel this. It's fun.
All right, what's a good comparison? Okay, let's talk about the desert theme. I feel like, I think Fossil Canyon is a good desert theme, so let's do Fossil Canyon. This is, to me, I think this is the weakest theme in Diddy Kong Racing, but I think it's still good in its own right. It's fun, you feel it, but I don't really get a lot out of it.
It's like got a classic kind of tune to it.
It doesn't compare to Jungle Fall.
But I gotta say, if this is the weakest that Diddy Kong has to offer, then it's still miles above Mario Kart, everything that I've heard, because this is memorable. This is fun still. It's like,
fun.
I feel like having maybe a little dance here. But I think it's maybe, for you, it's a bit subdued compared to the rest of the soundtrack.
Compared to Calamari Desert. Calamari Desert is, I think it's the weakest Mario Kart 64 soundtrack.
It's got that flair.
In the desert.
Did you notice? That's awesome. That's some Good, the Bad, and the Ugly reference right there.
The good, the bad, and the heavy.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly reference right there in the music. That's awesome.
What is it doing? It did it again.
Okay, that makes me love this song, but past that, nothing really memorable.
Nothing else.
In fact, it rips off the most memorable cowboy song in history. What the only really thing memorable about that song is the most memorable little tune of
Now
Cowboy
compare that to
Woo!
my favorite,
Wah, wah, wah.
my favorite track in Diddy Kong Racing. Jungle freaking Falls.
This is definitely not my favorite track in Diddy Kong Racing, but it's a good one.
Like, it sets you up. You're like, now you're racing.
You're pumped.
This is the closest thing to this is a good racing track for them. You're like, okay, I'm in mode. I'm almost there. Gotta keep going.
Oh, this is definitely a great song though. This one, you're like, you want to
win.
You want to win to this one.
You want to win. You win, but then you're neck and neck with someone. Now it's faster.
Wow.
That's what I like about both games. The music gets faster in the final lap. And you're like, you gotta go faster, you gotta go faster, you gotta go faster.
Really gives you the feeling of like.
It's so
great.
good. It's sped up. So yeah, like there's no track that compares to like that in
Mario Kart.
In Mario Kart. But the only thing that Mario Kart has that Diddy Kong doesn't is Toad's freaking turnpike.
Let's hear.
This song, I love it to death.
You can feel the Mario Kart theme playing through.
Yeah, I love the sound effect. You're on a highway. I feel like I'm on the highway.
Yeah. Is it which track is this?
Toad's Turnpike.
Oh,
this
so
is
you're actually on the highway.
You're on the highway. You're actually going against cars.
You're going with traffic.
Yeah,
the first one, unless you're in mirror mode, you're going against.
I think you're going against the traffic, which is
mirror mode. You go against traffic,
which is absolutely dangerous. Like, whoa, my God, we're doing some underground street racing. Such a
this one
beautiful
doesn't really do it for
song.
Me. But if this is the best that Mario Kart's got to offer, it is just not good enough compared to Diddy Kong Racing soundtrack. I'm sorry.
I feel like here's the thing. I feel like the Mario Kart 64's soundtrack, it feels atmospheric. Mm-hmm. It feels like you're in there, and it's subtle. Compared to Diddy Kong Racing, where it feels like it's in your face and more like, hey, have fun with this. Mm-hmm. I think that's the difference between the soundtracks here and there.
Well, you know what makes the difference for me? Which of those is more memorable?
More memorable.
And there's far more memorable songs on the Diddy Kong side. In fact, to a point where it's like, it's miles above.
They don't have Hot Top Volcano either, comparison. This song.
This is a great tune. I love this one.
Just imagine it.
Were you racing the genie?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not racing the genie. You're in Hot Top Volcano. I feel like I'm racing in the fire. I'm dancing in the fire. No one knows what they're saying. Cowabunga!
I don't know, but that is not a bad tune. You didn't even play the whole of it, but it's
because that's. I guess here's the thing.
It's so much better than anything Mario has to offer.
Much better. I love it.
Let's move on past the soundtrack because to me it's pretty clear. All right, one more.
I want to compare
Diddy Kong.
I want to compare.
If you could give marks for like extra, I would give Diddy Mark extra because they not only
did the extra,
they demolish Mario Kart soundtrack in my opinion. I've never in our past ones it's been pretty close.
Yeah,
they destroy Mario Kart soundtrack.
Here's the thing. In Mario Kart, there was one beach theme. Mm-hmm. In Diddy Kong, there's 3 beach sea levels.
There's 3 winter things in Diddy Kong.
Whale Bay.
Awesome.
I think Pirate Lagoon is the best.
Already, so that was great.
They took this out one. Okay, in the DS remake of this game, they took out Pirate Lagoon. Like, you took out one of the best songs of the game. I don't know. They replaced it with something else, which is horror. I don't like it. This is so much better. Then you feel like you're on the beach, like going in, and then
put on the sunscreen.
Yeah. When they got up.
Yeah, this is way better.
They got Crescent.
Way better.
Then they got Crescent Island. Oh, the xylophone. They're so good. Steel drum.
Case closed. Case closed.
And then
Case closed.
And for Mario.
In fact, I'm awarding Diddy Kong double points because their soundtrack is just they're like on the moon. Mario is still trying to figure out gasoline.
Yeah, and this is their beach theme. Their only beach theme for Mario Kart 64. See, here's the thing. It's not in your face. It's just more subtle. And you listen.
Yeah.
Like, it's good. I think it's really good. Nah, well, as much. I think it does it.
I like it. It's definitely good. It's not racing. I feel like Is this racing?
No, it's just relaxing at the beach.
This is which is this Mario Kart?
Yeah.
This is not like a racing song.
Because it feels more relaxed. That's the thing. Mario Kart 64's music is more atmospheric and relaxing compared to that of Diddy Kong Racing, where it's like all fun in your face and when the song is except you gotta go fast. Like, oh, gotta go.
Diddy Kong is on the moon with rocket fuel, while Mario Kart is still trying to put twigs together.
Gas.
Still trying to put twigs together to make fire. Let's move on to the next.
All right,
out of here.
Let's give that point. Definitely goes.
Double points.
You want to give them double points? +2. We're giving that to Diddy Kong Racing.
Double points. Yeah, that's the first time we do it. But I think that if they categorically destroy somebody in the other side, I think that's good enough for 2 points.
Yeah, just destroyed them.
They destroyed them.
All right,
There's no contest.
All right, now is it still running?
Yes.
All right then. Do you think how much time do you have on that thing?
16.
We can keep going.
Oh, of course.
We can definitely keep going. All right, let's talk about the. Before we talk about the tracks, we had to talk about the graphics first. Do you think we should talk about the tracks or graphics first?
Let's go graphics because we could cover them real quick.
Okay, graphics. Hands down, Diddy Kong Racing has the better graphics.
It's newer. It has the privilege of coming after.
The actual character models are not sprites. Unlike Mario 64's character models they're just sprites. That's it.
2D sprites with a 3D world versus Diddy Kong with a 3D sprite with a 3D world. However, they did figure out that they had to do the wheels 2D, I was hearing. So I mean, like, there's aspects of that aren't necessarily true, but the way that the camera works in Diddy Kong Racing basically shifts the focus enough that you don't never notice.
So yeah, I mean,
but graphically, I actually think they both are fine.
Both
the
worlds that they construct get the job done. They still look okay, but I really still think Diddy Kong Racing just wins by a hair because it just looks
there was
better.
more to it. There was more to Diddy Kong Racing.
There was just more to it.
As they had maybe an extra year or so of production time that they could build on the efforts, right?
Now, I will agree that Mario Kart had better variety than Diddy Kong 64.
Wait, so how long apart did these games come out?
I think about a year.
So Mario Kart's the older game?
I think so, yeah.
Double check that if you have that ability.
Mario Kart 64.
Because it's very interesting. But graphically, I think that they both, they're both pretty. They eke each other out. And it's kind of, you could say, draw. But for, if you're really looking at
November 14th, 1997. Well, Mario Kart 64 was they're about a year apart from each other.
So we'll give it to Tip Top and Tipsy and all that. They got to give them the graphics.
Tipsy, Pipsy.
They're the better graphics, so they get the +1.
However, let me explain this. Good graphics means that you're able to convey the environment well enough to make it good looking. That's why I like Ocarina of Time's graphics. I feel like they definitely were able to display the different variety in it is. But here's the thing: Mario Kart 64, despite having less tracks than they have less tracks than Diddy Kong 64, they had more variety in those tracks. Diddy Kong Racing's tracks only had 5 settings: ancient jungle canyon place. Frozen tundra place, the islands, freaking medieval times for crying out loud, and in space. That's it. Mario Kart 64 had the jungle, had a castle grounds. It had the castle from Bowser, a haunted.
So more varied places. What you're saying.
Even though that they had, let's see. Mario had a haunted area, but it looked way different from other levels. Compare that to Diddy Kong Racing's Haunted Woods. It was just Greenwood Village, but at night.
So Mario 64 did have the benefit of feeling. Mario Kart 64 had the benefit of feeling like if you were able to jump out of your kart, you would be in the Mario 64 world. It kind of felt like that. But it felt like it was able, it drew from each other.
Yeah, it drew from other Mario worlds. That's why
it drew from the Mario 64 that was new at the time. And it felt like if you jumped out of your car, you would be able to jump right into the Mario 64 world. And so that benefit of you felt that. And that was tangible. And so, I mean, yeah, so graphically, they definitely both hold up and compare to each other well enough. In the same regard with Diddy Kong, it felt like you were able to jump out. You could go anywhere in that world. And plus, they had multiple tracks. You could fly, and water stuff. There was still a lot more going on with Diddy Kong, which you're maybe discounting when you are saying, oh, you could go to Boo's Castle in Mario Kart, you could go to Toad's Castle, you could go to all these other space. You had more quote-unquote locations you could go to in Mario Kart, graphically looking wise, but they both really hold up.
Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely.
I think it's almost a split.
What do you say for I mean, even though that it's a newer game, I definitely agree that the more variety gives it a plus. While the newer one. So what do you say a tie?
I'll give it a tie.
We'll give it a tie. So let's give it +1.
You almost could give it to Mario because they had less to work with. But, I mean, if you think about it.
Let's give it a tie.
We'll give it a tie, though. We'll give it a +1. It's a 0.
We'll just give it a tie. So +0 to both. +0.
What's next?
All right. We already covered.
Tracks?
Let's see. So let's do. I forgot me again.
Tracks, really, if you think about it, what? So in Mario.
Talk about tracks.
There's 16 tracks.
16 tracks
with mirror mode.
Yeah,
and times 16.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, with another 16, so 32
compared
tracks.
Diddy Kong Racing's is they have a mirror mode. However, here's the downside: that mirror mode is only accessible in single player mode.
True.
Which really bogs it down, in my opinion.
It hurts the replayability and the multiplayer.
It really does, and you can't even play coin mode with your friends. So it's like, what's the point? This is why we'll get to that later. Where that Diddy Kong Racing feels like more of a single player game, but that's what I feel like. That's the thing. I think Mario 64's Mario 64 is definitely more multiplayer. But before we do that, let's talk about the tracks themselves. Let's talk about here are the tracks from Mario Kart 64. Solid 16 tracks. What makes these tracks good compared to Diddy Kong Racing's? They're both solid. But
every single track in Mario feels different from the next one. They all have their own theme, their own flavor, their own.
That's what I think about the look. You have the Luigi's Raceway. You have a farm.
Blow that picture up if you can, so on the TV.
See if I can make it bigger.
It's big. Yeah, maybe if you
gotta be kidding.
Just click on that picture, yeah, and zoom in. So that's all 16 tracks. Rainbow Road.
Can I zoom, please? There we go.
There you go.
So yeah, we have Luigi's Raceway, which is like a basic raceway. It's like you have to start somewhere. Then you go to the farm, you go to the beach, you go to a desert. Look at that, it's Red Dead 2 all over again.
It's Red Dead 2 with Mario, yeah. It's everywhere. But and look, and I mean everywhere. Choco Mountain.
And it moves on. It goes into it goes to the highway, the tundra area. It goes to the the mountains. It goes back to Royal Raceway, the Peach's Castle. Then it goes on to a stadium. It goes to freaking Antarctica, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but okay, so what we're seeing here is that Mario, because they had only 16 tracks, they got to put all their work and their assets to making those 16 tracks the best they could be.
They made the world in Mario come to life.
While maybe in Diddy Kong, because there were more tracks, they had to kind of stretch ideas and maybe reuse ideas, recycle ideas a little bit more.
That is why there was less creativity in a Diddy Kong Racing's tracks. That's the key here. There was less creativity in all of them because all 5 of them just had a certain theme to it.
So these are all the tracks in here in Diddy Kong?
They're all the tracks.
Wow, so there's only 3 more tracks total?
There's only 4 more tracks.
4 more tracks?
That's it.
Than Mario?
That's it. However, what I'm trying to say is, are these tracks fun to race in? That's the
They're
key
weird
here.
looking tracks if you look at them too.
There are a lot of splices in Greenwood Village. You could go around here. Greenwood Village. What made it tough was these sharp turns right here. Go to the basic. If you go to the original 4 levels, these are the simplest levels you can do. There's not a lot of tipsies and turns to worry about. In the second level, which is basically the Arctic Zone, they're still very, very simple. Look, the structure in these they're very simple. Don't you think?
And we didn't really get to see the Mario ones, but
to go with the track. If I'm looking at these, how basic they could be. It only gets a little more complex when it goes into Greenwood Village in Whale Bay. This is when it starts getting look at these little different paths you could take to see if it's faster or not.
But if I remember correctly, I remember playing on some of these tracks. I remember having some awesome environments that we're racing through. We're racing through like big giant dinosaur bones sometimes.
Yeah.
But a lot of the themes kind of repeated. Was what
the
you're saying. The themes kind of repeated where each one of Mario's tracks had its own soul.
Yes.
Where
You
maybe
have to have the same,
maybe in
it could have
Diddy
the
Kong
same
it was
music.
like the 4 tracks themselves were the entire soul, and they all had just like different
Yes.
iterations of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But that's creativity still in itself. That's just a different kind of creativity.
I believe this is from the Diddy Kong Racing tracks. These 4 new ones that they put in, they suck.
The bottom 4.
Yeah, they absolutely suck.
So
They're not fun.
when it comes down to tracks, I kind of am gonna give it. I'm leaning towards giving it to Mario Kart just because they had to do. They dealt with a less is more route, but yet they still were able to come up with more for each one of those levels. While Diddy Kong coming later had 4 levels, but they're like, we have one basic idea for those 4 levels that will just stretch out.
Ideas that were just stretched out.
With adding a few different kinks and things into each one of the levels to make them their own self.
And the worst part is, Mario Kart 64, you can access mirror mode with your friends. Compare that to Diddy Kong Racing, you can't access mirror mode with your friends.
All right, but I have another thing that I got to say. Some of these tracks were multi-use in Diddy Kong, where not only did you have to do it by water, but you could also have to sometimes do it by air.
However, does that really change the track that you're going the same way?
It changes the way you design the track, so it is multi-use. Not only because it's traversed by car, but it could be a plane level too. And that also changes the way you race too, and changes the setup of the levels. So there's different things that are being.
I see what you mean.
There are different things that are at play here, where Mario only had to worry about they had to make 4 flat ground levels for each. They just had to make 16 flat ground.
That's why they perfected those because they were restricting on cars. However, with Diddy Kong, they had to find ways to make them work.
Multiple ways.
3 vehicles.
Sometimes 3 ways, sometimes 2.
But the question is, does it really matter?
Yes, it does. I think that does matter. And so
because with planes, here's the thing: the levels designed for planes, they work for what they are. So. Hot Top Volcano at Everfrost Peak is another one. And I don't think they only got one, but a lot of these were hovercraft. Let's see. Windmill Plains. Windmill Plains was one of them. Did they benefit from being in the sky? I would agree, yes. Because they were purely designed for planes. However, when you go into the other ones, does really playing as a plane better? Because you have to go through the hoops. You have to go through you're in the sky. You still have to go down to like a tunnel where only the car is able to go.
Well, that goes into playability almost. But
who cares? The only thing the one where it does benefit, I think, is Jungle Falls, because Jungle Falls has areas where we can go as a plane. It's like, that looks like Jungle Falls was meant to be designed to be both cars, hovercraft, and plane, which I'm glad, but they don't do that for the other levels.
I got one thing I'll throw at you too, though. Last thing before we move on this, but as far as one of the tracks of Diddy Kong Racing was the main hub world itself, and the hub world itself was non-existent really in Mario, and that hub world in Diddy Kong was so fun to traverse in your car, in your water balloon, in your plane. They were like, I'll change my cars and I'll go explore these different places.
Once you got the plane, there's no need for the others.
How did we count that with tracks?
Because, it's not a track.
Well, Mario Kart didn't have that.
But it's not a track, James. Here's
right,
the thing.
But it was a track, though. You had to race the genie around sometimes.
I would argue that it's not a track. The reason why is because those tracks are so basic, even for the genie to traverse. It's like it doesn't even matter anymore. It's just a hub world design.
But it was an attractive feature. The hub world itself was fun.
That's why I think that the hub world is only meant for the single player experience.
Right.
That's why I feel like it just doesn't count as a track.
Okay, cool.
Plus one.
I'll give it that.
I give it to Mario Kart for its diversity in a track. I find their better use. I find the tracks of Diddy Kong to be too simple for my taste. Fun, but too simple.
I'll give it to Mario Kart.
Only the coin tracks make it more difficult because then you had to be a little smart in the placement.
So this one goes to Mario Kart.
I give it to Mario Kart for tracks. Now let's go to the multiplayer. And this is where I'm telling you. Multiplayer is better for Mario Kart than it was for Diddy Kong.
On the surface, you'd think that it would be better in Diddy Kong, but it's not. Because on the surface, it's like you got all fun characters. You have different kinds of weapon systems that can upgrade, and you got all these different ways you could race. You got cars, you got the hovercrafts, and you got the planes. So there's more complexity, more options, things to play with.
You have the idea of choosing your weapons in Diddy Kong Racing. Compare that to Mario Kart 64, where they decide your weapons by the situation. But I think this is why Mario Kart, it feels fun to play as a multiplayer game. It's a party game.
But you expect that to translate on Diddy Kong, but it didn't really translate.
It doesn't have. That's want to why.
But Mario Kart, meanwhile, with its simplicity, with its straight up, we just got cars and we got 16 tracks here, but we got different speeds.
If you're good at drifting.
And maybe because it was a little more simple than complex, maybe that made it more easy to.
It's easier to pick up Mario
than
it is to Diddy Kong.
Yes.
So it's easy, that's why I think it's a better multiplayer game. It's easier to pick up. On top of that, you have access to the mirror mode. If you want to challenge, you can increase the speed of your cars. Go to mirror mode if you want to. And let's talk about the battle modes.
The battle mode was really fun on Diddy Kong with the different kinds of weapons.
Different battle modes. You'll be smart with what you. Everyone just kept getting that freaking homing missile.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's what people go. So you just go straight for the homing missile in those games. Compare that to Mario Kart 64, where it's randomized.
Different things viable.
You got to be smarter with your green shells. So getting a red shell ain't easy to come by. So, but that's the thing is
things were viable.
You're more in control of Diddy Kong Racing. And some people say, I would agree that if you're more in control, it will make the better for competitive. But here's the thing: no one cares. Diddy Kong Racing is not competitive. It's supposed to be fun, and I like if a game's designed to be fun, its randomness. I definitely would go with more of the party game look. This is why Smash Bros. Is funner with the items turned on, in my opinion.
Well, here's the thing: racing in Mario Kart was probably the better of the multiplayer, but the battle modes was definitely probably better in Diddy Kong. But in Diddy Kong, it's just like you really didn't even get there because it's like we want to race.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're looking for that whole package, you kind of got more of that fulfilled with Mario Kart, and so that's where Diddy Kong fell behind, in my opinion.
We have the two different battle games in Diddy Kong. The one where you have to collect bananas and bring back to your chest in the castle. Compare that to collecting eggs and bring them back. Well, people can steal your eggs and
that was a fun game mode.
It's both interesting games, but do I really come back to play them?
No. You'd rather go pop somebody's balloon.
Yeah, I'd rather shoot them with missiles or green shells and screw them up. I want to blow them the frick up.
Without a doubt.
So Ice Cold Pyramid. But here's the thing. The only games that have are battle mode. If you just want to go straight up fighting them to the death, all you had was Ice Cold Pyramid and the Dark Bay, or is it Dark Islands? I don't remember.
The biggest indicator of why Mario's multiplayer was better is because years later, down the fact, when 10 years later, when my buddy has 64, he's got both the games. It's like, what are you going to go play? You're going to play Mario Kart.
You're going to play Mario Kart.
10 times out of 10, you're putting Mario Kart in over Diddy Kong almost. Unless you're feeling really nostalgic and you want to put Diddy Kong in. You're putting in Mario Kart if you're planning to have a fun time with friends because it's just so much more playable, so much more accessible to everybody.
I agree.
And it's maybe a double pointer.
You want
for Mario.
You want to give a double pointer. So
I think that they blow away.
They do.
It seems like they blow away for some reason.
Because you have access to both mirror mode and multiplayer mode, but in Diddy Kong, you don't have access to that in multiplayer mode.
It's more of an individual one-player game.
It's a big like that. What if other players want to play the coin match game together? Well, I don't know.
So multiplayer, double dose, I'm giving it to Mario.
All right. Now the single-player experience.
Destroyed by Diddy Kong, because Diddy Kong is meant for that.
I think that's what the problem is here. Diddy Kong is not meant for multiplayer. Diddy Kong is a single-player racing game.
It has an actual story.
Because there's an adventure mode and a story along to go
where there's no story in Mario.
Mario Kart. Well, there is. Sorry, Mario, but definitely Mario Kart 64.
Correct.
I'm still on?
Doing great.
All right. So here's the thing. In the multiplayer mode, this is what Jaymes, you were talking about, Jaymes. The island that you're able to explore. I think here's the thing.
It's fun to be there.
At the time, I think Mario Kart. Not Mario Kart, but I think Mario 64 heavily influenced a lot of games to have overworld maps to walk around and free roam. I think that was the inspiration for Rare before they made Banjo-Kazooie.
And it's funny because Mario 64 has that, but Mario Kart does not. But Diddy Kong does.
Because it was inspired. I think it was heavily inspired by Mario 64, Mario Kart 64.
With the painting world, the painting castles, yeah.
I think that's what it was all about.
Good point.
I think that's when Banjo-Kazooie was, because originally Banjo-Kazooie was called Project Dream, but then they moved on to Banjo-Kazooie.
One thing we didn't cover in multiplayer part aspect was rubber band effect.
Oh boy! And I think this is more important. I think this is more important in the single player experience than it is multiplayer.
But it affects both. It does affect both. In Diddy Kong, there is no rubber band. In Mario Kart, there's rubber band for AI and for the player.
Mm-hmm.
Where you get better items sometimes because they're randomly assorted.
It's a fun multiplayer game because it's random, it's fun. You're like, oh god, look at this. Oh no, so I got the blue shell. Oh no.
Well, that's the thing.
That feeling of being the randomness factor is so fun in those games. But in Diddy Kong Racing, it's more that fault was on you.
You were able to pick your strategy of your weapons, where you could upgrade to the third level of a certain homing weapon.
I will have a shield on me, just in case someone has a homing missile behind my ass, so I can use it. But boom, oh, your homing missile did nothing.
There's more strategy in Diddy Kong. Absolutely. So that's why you thought on the surface level maybe it would be the better multiplayer game.
In single player mode, it's more for single player mode because there is no rubber band effect involved. You have to outsmart the computer players. You have to be wise at it. What weapons you use, your turns. Something you have to bump into them to shove them the frick off.
If that big big Triceratops got too far ahead of you, there's no catching up.
Tricky. You gotta keep firing missiles on Tricky. You can't. The only way to beat Tricky is like what I do back then was I'll let Tricky get ahead of me a little bit, try to keep up with him. Right by when he's right at the finish line, I fire a missile at him and.
Boom.
Hey Jeffrey, how you doing?
Our producer.
One
of our producers.
He doesn't want to be involved.
What's going on?
Hey.
So let's finish.
All right, so I would in the single player collecting the balloons is enough.
It's a.
Well, another thing about Mario 64 that goes on to Diddy Kong Racing is collecting the balloons was like collecting stars. Mm-hmm. So that's another aspect I thought it was very interesting.
Absolutely.
So I'll give the single player 2 on that.
I'm giving it a +2. It destroys Mario Kart.
It.
The single player.
Now this is where it gets interesting. Is the speed running potential? I want to start with Diddy Kong here. Here's the speed running archives of Diddy Kong Racing. I want to pick the statistics of it. Hey Jeffrey, how big is the statistics on there?
Looks fine.
Looks fine.
And that now let's compare these. Show them Mario Karts because
here's Diddy Kong Racing's. By the years, nothing really changed in the
every
speed
single
runs.
one of these dots represents a time when they found something to move to the next speed level. So it's like boom, boom, boom.
But compare this to...
And then it's pretty static.
But here's Mario Kart 64.
Now let's take a look at Mario Karts. Mario Karts. And there's so much more speedrun potential here. There's more...
There's more ways to break the game. That's why people love Mario. Some people like the Super Mario Kart 64 because how broken it is. Compare that to Diddy Kong 64, which is less broken, more refined.
You got to be that type of gamer. That's not my type of gaming. I'm not playing games to be broken.
So here's, how they break the game? Mm-hmm. So because of the physics engine of the game, you can send yourself flying off the course. You can go around the course. There's like in a Frappe Snowland, you can go around the, what is it called? The finish line a few times, and the game will think that you went around the entire course. So you could beat the Frappe Snowland in 9 seconds, I think.
Holy cow, that's ridiculous. I know on the Wario course, right, you could jump the wall.
You could jump the walls. That's how some people were able to break the game.
I'm sure there's loads of other ones.
And
that's surprising though that there's less ways to do it on Diddy Kong because there's 3 different. There are 3 different ways with air, water, and cars. Yeah. So you think that there'd be more ways to potentially break it? But
now in Diddy Kong, I think what people do is they try to do bounds breaking, like getting underneath the course. I think, but. There's something really impressive about that compared to going through shit and tricking the AI system in Mario Kart 64.
That'd be a good conversation just for us to cover too. That type of gaming, game breaking gaming.
Game breaking gaming. So what do you say, Jaymes? Do you think Mario Kart 64 has better speed running potential?
Oh, absolutely. It's loads of.
I think that's a +2 on that.
I think that's a +2 because the stats bear out. The stats bear. I like our new system where we could go. If it's overwhelming, we could give them the +2 or the +1. I like that.
Now we're gonna combine the replayability and how does it hold up today? Combine because I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand. Because if it holds up today, you can still replay it.
Mario Kart They both hold up, first of all.
They both hold up. Here's the thing. Mario Kart 64, you can be with a friend and talk about how broken the game is and exploit everything that fun is. Compare that to Diddy Kong 64, it might not be as fun as a multiplayer game, but as a single-player game, it's better. You could like pick it up and just like, hey, I want to go play the game for fun. Like go back in time and when times were just simpler.
Imagine giving it to an 8 or 10-year-old in today's world. I think both those.
I think they would both be
fun.
entertained by them.
They would both be entertained by both games.
That would be a really fun experiment. Getting a bunch of go to like second graders and like, hey, play a bunch of like Nintendo 64, play these games and see how well you like them.
How different that would be from like literally 10 years and 20 years ago.
What they think about like here are games you play. What do you think about these old games compared to what you have? What would they say?
Ones that's funny because
really
they captured our imaginations, but now we're talking 20 years later. Can these hold a phone to?
It's like this. I can go back. Funny. I could go back in time and play some games on the Super Nintendo and an old Nintendo system and be like, wow, this is what they had back then. Like, some of these are pretty fun. And they might not have any high graphics or in-depth gameplay, the other ones, but they still had something involved. Like, if I play Super Metroid or Super Mario World, Link to the Past, I hate that game, but I love it as well. I have a weird relationship with that game. Good. I would say they still hold up to this very day.
That's the thing about N64 for me is quite a few of those games hold up. Mario Tennis, Mario Golf,
Mario
64, Legend of Zelda. There's quite a few games that really hold up. I went and played GoldenEye though. That was really hard to play actually.
There's still speedrunning potential with GoldenEye.
GoldenEye was really hard to like go back and play though. As like since we've moved so far from first players, like going back to play, I was like, whoa, this is weird. Something's weird about this.
We had to do an episode of GoldenEye.
Oh yeah, definitely. GoldenEye verse something.
Perfect Dark, but I never played. That's an Elliot episode.
I played Perfect Dark. Yeah, it's fun.
All right, so how about we give them a tie and say give them both +1s there?
Yeah, I can give that.
Like, they both have their own reasons.
So usually we give zeros for that.
Yeah, usually give, but I think giving a +1 makes sense.
All right, are we at the end here? Let's add this up.
We're at the end. Let's add up what we got here. All right, from Mario, got 1, 2, 3. No, wait, 1, 3, 5, 6. Diddy Kong got, let's see, 2, 2. Oh, what do we have here?
5. Wow, I love our system. It's fun.
Holy crap.
So it just edges out, Mario Kart just edges out Diddy Kong Racing 6-5 in our little scoring mode here that we did. And as the more fun game, probably the game that if you were going to pick up, that would be the game to go with because it's just more replayable. It's just easier to introduce to your friends.
I am shocked.
But to me, also, Diddy Kong's also that single-player experience, which is also fun. They both have, they both cater to kind of slightly different audiences, but at the same time, racing.
I'm actually really shocked that Mario.
Kart racing.
I'm shocked that Mario won this one.
Why?
Because you feel like the more refined. Okay. You feel like the more refined game is like is Mario always thought like Banjo-Kazooie was better than Mario 64 because it was more refined. But I realized that the more like refined and limitations you put on a game, I feel like the less potential it truly has. But compare that to Mario 64, which has so much potential. People have been making mods to that game, but they haven't really made mods for Banjo and Kazooie. And I think that just makes me wonder why.
That is a good question.
It's because there's just more potential in Mario's gameplay than it is to Banjo-Kazooie's game, which is more safe, more grounded, and that's what you have to offer. And compare this to Mario Kart 64 is less grounded than Diddy Kong 64. But,
way less grounded in some places, it seems.
But people will go on and say Mario Kart 64 is the better game.
Yeah. And then when we run the numbers,
we're like, I think I'm starting to get the pattern here. That like Diddy Kong Racing has more strengths than Mario Kart 64 in some aspects.
Maybe in the deeper level of the coding.
In the deeper level in the coding, it's better programmed.
Yes.
But I think that's what's holding it back. That's the ironic thing.
At least in the game breaking potential.
This is why I like Ocarina of Time than Majora's Mask. It's easier to break Ocarina of Time than Majora's Mask.
That's not what I rated the games. But it's interesting that we have all these different metrics I mean, we have a lot of different metrics going into our rating system here, and
there's so many.
that's the way it ends up.
Games have so many things going on for them.
Absolutely,
James.
and there's probably aspects of the
Game
game.
is art. Games are art.
There's aspects of the game that we probably even discussed in our ratings here that we're probably missing, and maybe we'll add later on too.
Yeah.
And if you guys have any ideas for those, of course, comment below.
What do you think about our rating system? What do you think who really won this?
Did you enjoy this review?
What do you think of it? Leave a comment down
Do
below.
you think Mario Kart is the better game than Diddy Kong Racing? Because according to us and our numbers, I think so. I would vouch for it. I would argue for it.
Hey Jeffrey, what do you think is the better game?
Mario Kart or Diddy Kong Racing?
Mario Kart.
Oh!
Producer votes Mario Kart.
Producer's vote wins. Producer votes
No,
win.
no,
All right. I think that's all the time we have left for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next video.
Toss us a like if you enjoyed the conversation, and comment below if you have any other ideas that you ever want to see or things you want to add to the conversation as well. Because, of course, this is always a dialogue. We're just talking here and having fun.
We're looking for one coin. We got one coin. We need a second. Sometimes we need the side of the coin.
Yeah, there's 3 sides to every coin. There's 3 sides to every coin, and we're only looking at one side, sometimes 2, maybe 3, and sometimes we can't see all sides of the coin.
Sometimes it's a
so if you've got that
four-sided die.
side, toss it in there.
All right.
All right.
Take care.
See you guys.